Hello there, and welcome to This Is the Day. My name is Sarah Otieno. We are live on Family TV and also live on Family Radio, where the music does the talking. You can contact us through the WhatsApp number 0786 316 316 and also through the SMS line 20316. Through Facebook and Twitter, it is through the handle at Family Radio 316, and we can get to talk together and discuss, because today it's matters legal. Have you ever been arrested? I have once in traffic, and I was really harassed, if I may use that word, because I don't know, maybe the person that was arrested before me was not complying and nililetewa tu hasira, but I understood. But do you comply every time you are arrested? And we're not praying that it happens often, but sometimes circumstances force us to get into loggerheads with the traffic and even the police officers in general. So do you know your rights when you are arrested? Most of the time it's a no. Do you even know what you are supposed to do when this happens? So just some time back, we had the story of one activist in Kenya who was filming after a traffic officer entered her vehicle, and it caused a lot of talk in the social media and in our country. So what are some of the legal rights that you are supposed to be having during this period of arrest? And sometimes we fail to understand them, but today we have a lawyer. Hey, a lawyer in studio, and trust me, she looks good. She's a lawyer.
Thank you.
I already feel like I have a lawyer in studio.
Thank you.
Her name is Caroline Ameyo from Onyango and Ameyo Advocates.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Must you always be in a court kidogo and it looks so lawful?
Usually when we go to court, and I'm just from court this afternoon.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, thank you for sparing time for us.
I appreciate.
Okay. So first, before we dig into the discussion of law, I want us to look at some of the statistics of the numbers of people who are being arrested in our country, comparing the male and the female, the common mwananchi and maybe the politicians. We look at that, and then we'll be back to talk about how you are supposed to absorb that. It's not a very good feeling when you are arrested, but what are you supposed to do to make sure that that process is smooth and of course legal? But for now, we look at the statistics.
The Constitution of Kenya 2010 came with great promise to Kenyans for the right to justice. Article 48 provides that the state shall ensure access to justice for all persons. Unfortunately, many Kenyans are of humble means and cannot afford the services of lawyers. When someone is arrested, a specific series of events follow. The police must follow certain legal procedures during and after the actual arrest process in order to comply with the legal and constitutional rights. An arrest occurs when a police officer takes you into custody, and in this moment, you, the suspect, are no longer free to walk away from the arresting officer. The daily average population of convicted males decreased from 30,280 in 2017 to 30,246 in 2018, while that of female increased from 1,469 in 2017 and 1,525 in 2018. The total convicted prison population increased from 4.2% from 80,404 in 2017 to 83,896 in 2018. More than 75% of prisoners are aged between 18 and 35, with the majority of them being petty offenders. According to Chief Justice David Maraga, it is worrying when more poor people are arrested, charged and sent to prison as compared to the rich. What is worrying even more is that majority of those in jail or remand prisons are between the age of 18 and 35. A task force appointed by former Attorney General Githu Muigai reported that after interrogation, the circumstances under which men and women who are on death row were arrested and are paying for sins they never committed.
Well, clearly from the statistics, and unfortunately, the number has grown. It's very unfortunate, considering that the number of the male in prison and in the remand cells has decreased, the number of female has increased. And that is what we want to understand today. So, Carol, some of the mistakes that cause women and the number of women to increase and the number of men to go down? What's happening?
Well, I also find that statistic very interesting.
Yeah.
From the top of my head, I would think maybe the men have become smarter, so they're not getting arrested.
Really?
Or they are committing less crimes, which
Uh-huh.
is more, I don't think that is likely.
Yeah.
Or that women have had more criminal tendencies and are
Mm-hmm.
becoming bolder, and they're getting involved more in criminal activities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, traditionally, in the society was mostly patrilineal, and now it's becoming more equalized.
Yeah.
And I usually joke that these days women are, if there's corruption, women are also participating. If there's crime, women are also participating. So there's equality in the good
Equality in the
and
good
equality
and
in the
the
bad.
bad.
Because at the end of the day, most crimes are usually, for most people, it's about looking for extra money.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few crimes that are family related, which have to do with maybe when a relationship goes wrong and crimes of passion.
Mm-hmm.
But many of the offenses that they're referring to,
Mm-hmm.
the petty offenses, which are traffic offenses and maybe fraud and theft, such kind of things.
Well, let me
It
tell
looks
you-
like women are
Uh-huh.
getting either more involved or they're getting arrested more. And also initially, because of the society the way it was, when a policeman would come and find a man and a woman, they'd probably arrest the man and leave the woman and say,
Yeah.
"Oh, poor lady, she has children." You know, but maybe they're also becoming
They're becoming rude, for lack of a better
not rude.
word.
They are just applying the law fairly to the both genders.
Oh,
You know, under the new constitution, men and women are equal.
equal, yeah.
And they're equal in all aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just to digress, like a long time ago, women would not pay alimony and they would never support a man who's earning less than them.
Yes.
But these days, women do support
Mm-hmm.
husbands if the husband is earning less.
Yeah.
So maybe the policemen are just arresting people more
Equality.
fairly. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take that for now, by the way. And you've talked of petty offenses. And I remember there's one story that happened in Baringo County, Eldama Ravine area. And this was, this guy was arrested for stealing cabbage. You know, cabbage, 20 shillings. He was arrested and remanded and even taken to court. Yeah. So some of these petty offenses that people do, you know, and I was once in court and kuna ingine I had ati nilimshtaki because he threw stones in my garden, you know. As now, as a practicing lawyer, and you've come across these cases, why does it always have to reach to court when it's petty?
Okay, we have a penal code, yeah?
Yeah.
And there are two categories of crimes. There are the misdemeanors and the felonies. So the misdemeanors are the lighter crimes,
Yeah.
which most of the time the penalties are maybe 6 months or less. You can be fined. Those would include like traffic offenses and some of loitering, prostitution, some of these minor things. And then there are the serious crimes, yeah, where you can be jailed for 3 years.
Yeah.
So there are sometimes it's a mandatory prison sentence, and that would start from things like theft, you know, burglary, robbery with violence, fraud, things which are more serious and more substantive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are basically the two categories of crime. Now, for the petty offenses, even under the Constitution, and under the Civil Criminal Procedure Act, it's ideal that when you're arrested, you're not remanded for long because it's a petty offense.
Yeah.
You should ideally be given bail and allowed to go home and attend court.
Okay.
But for the more serious offenses, they must retain you in jail, you know, because you could run away. And then if you have to pay bail, you're asked to pay a substantial amount of bail
Yeah.
just so that you don't disappear. And when it comes, I want to particularly answer your question on the theft. Now, under the penal code, theft can be, I do not have to steal something valuable from you. I could just come and find, there's a certain,
My pen.
yeah, let's use a pen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could find your pen. And so long as I intend to take it from you and never return, and it can be proved that I intended to deprive you of that pen permanently, and I took it without permission, and it does not belong to me, I can actually, if you're determined and you take me through the whole criminal process, I can actually end up in jail for 3 years
Wow.
for stealing a pen. And a
Oh
pen
my.
actually has value. For stealing a lock of your hair, like like a lock, something that belongs to you.
What do you mean?
It is that strict. So whether it's a cabbage, To you, it looks like a small thing, but that is someone's property. His property is protected under the Constitution and under the laws of the land. So you're not supposed to go and steal someone's cabbage. They also need that cabbage to eat.
Okay.
And there's a reason why they planted it. So it might look petty, but
Under the
the police
Constitution?
and under the laws, the penal code, they are just applying the laws as they are.
Wow.
Now, when it comes to things like stealing a chicken, there's actually a mandatory sentence of stock theft. It's considered to be stock theft.
Yeah.
Even if it's that small chicken, the one that's still 5
Kifaranga.
days.
Yeah.
Yes. Kifaranga.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. If I steal it, there's a mandatory sentence that the court has to give you. You'll only be lucky if your neighbor goes like, no, it's okay.
It's our,
and
then they
forgives
pull-
you.
uh-huh.
Yeah. But if someone is determined to take you through the process, you can actually go to jail for a long time. Another thing is which people would overlook is something like assault. You know, assault is like maybe you happen to slap someone or you just happen to push someone. And it actually becomes very, very soft that even threatening someone with an SMS, like maybe you're annoyed at someone, you tell someone, I will hit you, you'll see me. You know, maybe it's just in the passion of anger.
Yeah.
But if that person is determined to take you through the process, it is
can
actually
get
considered to
serious.
be
Assault.
a crime.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's good for the public to know the laws. I know it is hard work to go to the internet, read the penal code, but if it's possible, people should just read at least the crimes that exist. Because these days, many people know their rights. And when someone wants to take vengeance on you, they can use the criminal process
And the law.
to take vengeance on you, and
Wow.
that's on a completely different matter. And these are cases that we have seen, especially us who have worked under the Kenya Christian Lawyers. We have an organization called CLEAR, where we offer legal aid to the poor. And some of the people who end up in court on very soft issues, but because there's another overlying issue, maybe a land issue or a marital issue, someone uses that small crime to get someone going through the process. And some people actually end up in jail
Yeah.
for crimes that they shouldn't ideally have gone to jail. As in,
okay.
if you look at it from a moral perspective, you feel like this is something that should have been forgiven, or he should have been given a fine or something. Yeah.
All right. So I have done a mistake, and maybe the person I have offended has decided that I'm calling the police on you, because that is where it starts.
Yes.
During arrest,
Yes, yeah.
And sometimes we have seen videos on social media of police officers mishandling someone, wanakuchapa, the way wanakupiga jek, the way they carry you.
Yes.
Is that right by law? Are they supposed to, lack of a better word, mishandle?
In my opinion, the police are suffering from the colonial system,
Yeah.
where the citizens used to be basically like slaves. So the policemen, whether they were African or white, they would have to necessarily mishandle you because you are like less human. Yeah. But the law under the new constitution and even under the Criminal Procedure Act, an arrest should ideally be, I'm coming to arrest you. Can we go to the police station?
Yeah.
If you resist, that's when the police is supposed to use force.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and
If
the force
you resist.
and the force has to be reasonable force. If it's a lady like you and me, they should just maybe take our hand, and if it's someone who looks like they're armed, then they'll have to use arms. But the way maybe someone is just demonstrating, and then they're bundled into a pickup like a sack of potatoes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're lifted, and
Yeah.
Usually it's like a show, or it's like that afande thing, yeah.
Can we say they are
It is
using
wrong.
excess
It is wrong.
power?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it is wrong. And there are certain levels within which they can go, that you can actually go to a human rights court and get redress when they go to an extreme level. Yeah, but if the citizens know their rights, they will tell the policeman, I know my rights. I'm willing to come to the police station. Let's go. I enter your car, we go. The way we see in the Western countries and in movies, yeah, the arrests are usually more civil, unless someone decides they're using force or they're escaping. That's when the police go on police mode. But in Kenya, they tend to go on police mode
Even before you
immediately.
resist. Yeah.
Yeah, and even in these political arrests, like the Sonko arrest, ideally he should have been informed that you'll be arrested. His lawyer should have gone with him to court, to the police station. Yeah, but because they want to make it look dramatic, we are acting on
game of power.
yeah, we are acting on corruption, so
Yeah.
they create that whole arrest, which is not the right type of arrest. Yeah, where someone has to cry and it
Yeah.
should just be, you're a politician, there's this case, appear in court. If he fails to appear in court and they have to track him down and he's trying to hide, that's when now they should go on police mode and kick things and open things and arrest you and take you by force. And even then, the moment they have you secured, they should pull back
Pull back.
on the force.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So because we are used to it's almost like in Kenya, we are used to the police acting in that way. They continue. But if many people knew their rights and said, no, I'm a decent person. I know this person has a complaint against me. I'm willing to come. They should let you come willingly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And this are some of the mistakes that both, and I'll say both, the officers, the security officers, and the people, us, the common mwananchi, maybe you're being arrested. These are some of the mistakes that we do. Maybe resisting or using excess power, right? So
Yes.
what are other mistakes that we do? Maybe knowingly, maybe unknowingly, that is against the law.
Okay, first, panicking is a mistake because
Oh.
even if it's a small offense, there's a process you'll go through. So you should, if you know your rights reasonably, you know for this offense it'll probably be a fine. So let me not panic. Yeah, because if you panic, you'll make a mistake. One of the rights of an accused person is the right to remain silent. Yeah, not to incriminate yourself. So if you talk too much, and they write a statement, they take you to the police station, they make you write a statement,
Yeah.
it's like a confession. By the time your lawyer is coming to the picture, you've already written a confession. So it's better to keep quiet. Because you don't know the law, you don't know your rights. People go to school for 5 years to know the law, yeah? So you don't know. You
Yeah.
might know something,
Yeah.
but you don't know everything. So ideally, you should keep quiet. And the police should tell you, under the Constitution, that you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to counsel. So, and when they're arresting you, they should tell you what they're arresting you for.
Yeah.
And it should be a crime that is recognizable. Because, like I said, some people abuse the police process to arrest you for something minor, and yet maybe it's a deni, a debt someone is just trying to push you to collect. You understand? Yeah. So it's always good for them to tell you what it is you've done, and then you remain silent. And even in the whole process, when they take you to the police station, they should tell you have a right to bail. You have a right to call for help, whether it's you're calling a lawyer, you're calling your relatives. You know, you have a right not to be mishandled unless you're misbehaving.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and then if you're arrested and you're put in remand, you have the right not to be put with people who have already been convicted because because
you
under
need
the
to be
law,
separated.
yes, because under the law you're presumed to be innocent
Until proven guilty.
That's why we usually have some remand jails and actual jails. Yeah, because you're not supposed to be mixed with murderers, and they're just assuming that you're a murderer. Maybe you're not, and the court has not gone through that process to determine that you're actually a murderer or that you've committed whatever crime you're accused of. Yeah.
What about the issue of filming this arrest? You know, Kenyans, we like social media, you know, and during someone would say, hey, ameingia kwa gari yangu, like the case study we were talking about earlier, where the activist actually filmed the traffic officer, you know, taking her to the police station and all that. Is it right to do that?
For the traffic laws has its own set of laws, but I believe the policeman should not necessarily enter your car. If you're willing to do the police station, he should enter his own car and you go together. You know, they usually just come enter your car. Sometimes they want a lift.
Yeah.
It's not their right. Yeah. If they're asking for your
Driving license,
or if they're telling you what you've done, they should be outside your car. Because we've known some policemen are criminals. You can let someone into your car and they take you to some forest and they have guns and they can kill you.
Yeah, sure.
You know. So it's good that they tell you whatever you're charged with, and then you can go to go to the police station yourself. You know. So she knew her rights and she was protecting herself. And luckily, because these days there's more social media, we actually are better off, because when something is not in order, you actually have evidence. And even in the West, the policemen were mandated to wear a camera when they're doing all arrests, a body cam, because there were so many complaints of white policemen always targeting young men no matter what they did. Yeah, you're just a black man walking with a hood and they just come and kill you, and you're just looking for your phone, they assume it's a gun, they kill you, and then they say
You had
that they were threatened and maybe they were not.
Yeah.
So they were required to wear a camera. So if you have your own camera, it's for your own protection.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that leads me to the next question. You know, we've also had cases of someone was arrested because of maybe traffic offense, a petty offense, I would call it. And then when that charge sheet is being taken to court, you find there is another offense that has just been planted there. You know, someone can even say you had drugs or something. It has been happening in our courts and in our police stations.
Yes, unfortunately, like I said, okay, the people usually say power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And for a long time, the police in our country have had a lot of power. As in, it has been difficult before the IPOA was created to even take a policeman forward because he'll be protected by his fellow policemen,
Yeah, sure.
his superiors. And sometimes you find the whole chain is not very clean. Yeah. So your question is, just remind me.
Now, when they fake, let me use
Yes.
the word fake offenses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, in the slums, it is very common for a policeman to just be in his house and go like, I need 500 shillings. Let me go and harass people.
Really?
Or I need 5,000. So they'll go, do the rounds, find people, harass them, tell them, find a crime. Like, there's a very bad crime that's still in our penal code and in our criminal procedure code of someone who looks like they're going to commit an offense.
Looks
This is-
like.
Yes.
Oh.
Is maybe in a dark place and he behaves in a manner as though he was going to commit a crime. That's something that has been abused for many years. Loitering, those crimes which are very soft, but you can't, it's the police's word against yours. So sometimes they arrest you on those soft crimes, and then when they take you forward, of course, the superiors will look at the case and go like, this is a bogus case.
Yeah.
So because they don't want to be told it's a bogus case and they've already arrested you, maybe you refuse to give them that amount they wanted to go home with, they take you to remand. After remand, the OB has been signed, you find yourself in court. Now they don't want to look bad, so they'll plant something. They'll plant a knife, they'll plant drugs, it depends. These things happen a lot, and sometimes it's even minors who are taken through that process.
Yeah.
Mostly it was minors and young men. Now if they're arresting women, maybe there are many prostitutes or women who look like prostitutes who are arrested. I don't know.
Look like.
Yeah, it has been abused. So in a system where, in a country where systems work, the crimes would probably be okay. But where it can be abused, it tends to get abused. Because there are several cases that we would handle at the Christian lawyer's office, where when you're doing the legal aid, you find the police have no case. But especially in the old regime before the new constitution, you'd find someone has been in remand for 3 years, and the state has no case.
Yeah.
But luckily, after the new constitution came in, it put in the 24-hour rule.
Wow.
You can't be arrested for more than 24 hours. You have to be presented to court the next morning. If I arrest you today, the next morning.
The next morning you have to go.
A long time ago, you could have stayed in remand for a week or two or a month. And sometimes even the policemen usually go and look for sign affidavits and take you to magistrates and ask for more time to hold you. Yeah, and sometimes they get them.
Yes.
And sometimes it's fair and sometimes it's not. And then you would notice that many arrests happen on Friday. Why? Because
Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, because under the act, if the next day is not a court day, they have until Monday evening to let you go. So they abuse it by arresting you on Friday, so that you'll stay in court, in jail on Saturday and on Sunday and on Monday the whole day. So if someone is just arresting you to put pressure on you, on maybe to pay a debt illegally,
Yeah.
because they should go through probably a civil process, something more humane, then you'll just go like, I don't want to spend 3 nights in this dirty cell.
So let me just
comply.
Yeah.
But that is an abuse of process.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've talked about the hours, 24 hours that it should not pass, by the way, according
Yes.
to law.
Yeah.
So there's the issue of visitation na chakula. Food, we can't survive without food, and it's 24 hours. Do I have a right to food? And is it to ile boiled cabbage, ama I can also be brought food from outside and visitation?
What I know is that if you're spending a night in a police cell, they will give you food. But most of the time you look at that food and you go like, let me sleep hungry. I'll wake up in the morning and go to court. So because you have a right to counsel, you have a right to have your family members come and assist you.
So they can come.
You have a right to. If I have a right to call, when I call, people will come. So they have a right to be at the police station to see, have I been arrested fairly? Yeah. So that is one of your rights. Yeah. So usually, unless there's something very fishy, if someone comes with food, they'll let you eat it. If they feel you've done something so bad and you don't deserve that food, as long as the state has given you food, you've not been starved. Yeah.
Okay.
Food
as
and
long
water.
as you've been given
You've
food
been
by
fed.
the state.
Yeah.
All right. And also there is the issue of, and this I've just heard from stories, the way you do not leave a room, so you have to help yourself in a certain corner. Is that acceptable by law? Ama, should I have access to a clean washroom?
The disadvantage of being in a poor country means that there's some things that are not up to international standards.
Yeah.
Ideally, you should have a even if you're remanded,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you should have a clean environment where you'll not get diseases.
Mm-hmm.
And even the new constitution came up with a lot of economic and social rights. You know, the
Yeah.
right to go to school,
Mm-hmm.
right to housing. The housing should be of a good standard. It should not be a slum.
Yeah.
It should not be dirty. The right to water. Look at in Nairobi, we don't even have water, and water is essential for public health.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, the police, prisons and remands that were there in the colonial era, the ones that are still there now, the population has surged. There are more crimes taking place. So most of those places tend to get very crowded. And then because they're not cleaned very well, you can easily contract diseases there. So there's conditions in depending on where you're taken. Some areas have better conditions than others.
Okay.
Now, of course, under the constitution, they should be better, but who will give the money to get that done?
Yeah.
So it is a process.
It's a long
So we
process.
actually told it's a progressive implementation of the constitution on economic, social, and cultural rights. And once they are implementing them, even the prisons should become better and everything else. Yeah.
I'm interested to know, why do they tell people to remove one shoe and their belt? What's the reason behind
Usually
that?
it's to make sure you're not armed. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So they usually when you're arrested, they take away your personal items, they keep them safely, and they give them back to you when you're released on bail. Yeah. But because, like I said, we are in that Afande society,
Fandesa.
yeah, they make it so dramatic. Toai. You know, you feel harassed. Whereas they should just tell you politely, give us your personal items, we'll list them nicely, so that you can get them back in good order.
Okay.
But because first of all, you're traumatized, you've been arrested.
Yeah.
Then you're not sure what is going to happen.
Maybe you're not complying.
Yeah. Maybe you've complied, but you're just petrified, and then they're taking your things, and then they're putting you in a cell. You know, the whole experience becomes very negative.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
very traumatizing.
That's
Yeah.
scary. you
Yeah.
know? Yeah. And we have people texting in. We have. I love the show. I am a student for electrical engineering from CIA Institute of Technology. That is Odhiambo Ted. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We have Chasi Lucy. Asante sana for tuning in. You're saying, I am learning a lot. Martin Dungu is just asking, that's serious stealing a pen? That's serious. Stealing a pen to be jailed for 3 years? What happens to these people who steal public money? And that is also another angle that maybe should be looked at. Do we have clean justice in Kenya, or do we follow money like people who switch off lights and walk to bed like blind people? Do we have justice in our country? Maybe I should ask that question to you,
Yes.
Caroline. Do we have justice in our country?
What I can say is that yes, there is, because we have a court system that works. Yeah, if there is evidence, and even the threshold for criminal courts is very high.
Yeah.
The state has to prove your case beyond reasonable doubt, which means many times when they have a bogus case against you, it'll end up being dismissed because they won't have evidence and they won't have, they won't be able to back it up.
Yeah.
So they'll let it go eventually and you'll be released. Yeah. So we have justice to some extent, because for me, my own philosophy is that there are two kinds of justice. There's the pure criminal justice and there's social justice.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason why Maraga is saying that there are many poor people being arrested is because when a person is arrested and they don't have their rights, ideally they should get a lawyer. If you're reasonably wealthy, you have a salary, you can at least
You can
get
afford
a
one.
lawyer. You can afford one. And in Kenya, we have many people who are below the poverty line. So when they get arrested, they don't get an advocate. Because they don't get an advocate, they'll either confess, or they'll spoil their case, or they will not have bail. So they'll stay in remand for so many years. By the time for a long time, by the time the court is noticing that there is no case, somebody has already suffered as though they are criminal and they're not.
Okay.
And that is unfair. Yeah. You will notice even in other jurisdictions where systems work better than our country, because our systems work, but sometimes there's the parallel corrupt system.
Yes.
Yeah, but where systems are reasonably transparent, you'll still find that the wealthy people, the people who actually do big crimes, because they can afford super lawyers, the best lawyers, they tend to get lighter sentences than the poor
those who
people in
cannot
those
afford,
societies.
yeah.
So that's something that's not only in Kenya, but it's all over the world. Yeah, the wealthier you are, the easier it is for you to get away with a crime. In Kenya, many rich people get away with crimes. The only ones that actually go through the whole system are the ones where the public has put so much focus on them
Yeah.
that they can't afford to buy the system and
And do
end
away
it.
with the cases.
But I can assure you, in most of police stations, if you're accused of a crime and you're willing to bribe your way, yeah, you can actually compromise the process.
Then the problem is with corruption, even from the lowest level of arrest and police.
There's poverty and then there's corruption.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Alright.
let me just expound. Yeah, ideally, when there's a crime committed, you see, when a crime is committed, it's committed against the public.
Yeah.
It's a moral wrong. Yeah, so it's not, even if I've hit you, it's not considered only to
On
between
me.
me and you,
Uh-huh.
but it's me against the state,
public.
because I'm not supposed
Okay.
to assault, for instance. Yeah, so that's why most of the criminal cases, it's a prosecutor of the state who'll be representing. You'll just be the complainant or the witness. Yeah. Now, from the time the cases are at the police station, and by the time it goes to the DCI, yeah, the director of public prosecution, and by the time it goes to court, yeah, those are 3 places where you can actually buy yourself out of the system.
By your freedom.
Yes. So you can either compromise, which this is something we have seen. There are people who compromise the police, there are people who will compromise the prosecutor, or the people who will compromise the judge. Sometimes it's a whole cartel.
And money talks.
Yeah, sometimes it's a whole cartel. So like if in a case where someone, let's say, has stolen from G4S $20 million, that person can buy the whole system so comfortably.
20 million is a lot.
I'm
of
giving
money,
an example.
you know?
Dollars.
Yeah,
I'm just giving an
dollars.
example. You can
Yeah.
buy the system so well and go home and enjoy your money.
Now,
Now,
back
in
a
other
change,
countries,
you know?
if someone is found having committed fraud, like the Murdoch case, or these crimes where many people suffer because of one person's Ponzi scheme, or one person mismanaging a mutual fund, the state will go after that person and will make sure that they take everything that person owns and put it back to the state or compensate the victims. But in Kenya, when you get proceeds which are illegally obtained, either through corruption or through theft, after the criminal sentence, you go and enjoy your millions.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, so to that extent, there is no justice in Kenya.
Wow.
Because justice should be, you're not only punished, but you do not get a chance to enjoy the proceeds of that crime. Whether the crime be economic or whether it be,
Social.
yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Continue sending in your questions and any comments that you have. If you wish to join this conversation, the WhatsApp number to use is 0786 316 316 and the SMS line 20316. My name is Sarah Otieno. We are live on This Is the Day, and I have Caroline Amayo in studio. We're talking about the legal rights during arrest, And a lot of questions are coming in, and so Carol, I would like us to sample some of them. My name is Cliff Omwenga, tuned in from Nakuru. Thank you so much for that discussion. I am learning a lot. And then we have this should be Rose Kimani. Thank you, Rose, for your SMS. Unauliza, how safe is our ID numbers when we leave it at the gates? So that's a question. Then she goes forward to ask, should I be prosecuted for refusing to leave my ID number or my ID at any gate?
Okay, on the issue of IDs, most offices nowadays have very high levels of security because of the terrorism. So, when it comes to human rights, sometimes they're competing rights. Maybe the right of the state to protect other people,
Yeah.
and maybe your right, to do whatever you want. Yeah, so it's a balance. So if you think of people leaving IDs as compared to a building being bombed, then the state would feel it's better we are
We leave
safe.
the IDs.
Yeah, the IDs are left. We know who has entered the building, if that person there work in that building, so that if anything happens, we have a way to track who did it. So it's an issue of competing interests. Yeah, but you should also just be careful. Like if you feel, we usually say basic security begins with, if you feel you're going to a place where you think your ID can be used for fraud, maybe avoid the building, or maybe say, no, I can give you my NHIF card or something else. But most of the time you'll find your ID.
Yeah.
But the truth is, if somebody was malicious and they want to use that ID and some other data of yours to commit fraud, that is a risk that has been well picked up by the viewer.
By Rose.
Yeah.
All right. And we have Vincent from Thika. I was arrested on Sunday at around 9:30 in the evening with my partner as we walked home, just a few meters from our gate. The arresting officers were actually chewing cat, Mira, as they did their so-called patrol. We were taken to the station and I had to pay 3,000 shillings for our freedom. We paid via M-Pesa. Officers at the station were also involved with the cat eating business. How should I have worked my case? This is someone who is walking home and maybe you're atasema ni loitering,
Yes, that's what I was talking about. That's a very good example of what I was talking about. They can arrest you and say you are loitering, you are looking like you want to commit a crime. If you start resisting, they'll plant a knife on you. By the time you're going to court, you'll see a knife.
Yeah.
So it's an abuse of process. And even the after the new constitution, they created this police oversight authority, which has been working. If you go and report any police officer and you have a reasonable amount of evidence, like maybe you're two people, so you can corroborate each other's evidence, you can actually take a complaint forward. They'll check that police station who was there. The file can be opened and action can be taken. The problem is that you might spend so much of your time and resources following that thing.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, sometimes if the police feel threatened that they'll lose their jobs, they can actually come and harm you because they have guns and they have power. Like in the sad case of Willie Kimani, he was actually just trying to help a member of the public. He was working in an organization, which is a Christian organization, the International Justice Mission. He was just an advocate doing his job, but because a policeman felt threatened, he actually lost his life and everybody who was around him that day. So unfortunately, we are still in a state that is not ideal. But what I have seen is that if a policeman is going to arrest you and you tell him, I know my rights, I'm not supposed to be arrested. If I'm arrested unfairly, I know where to go. Many times they'll weigh their risk and say, huyu watatuletea shida, tuende. That's why they like going to the slums, because people are uneducated. They don't know their rights. They don't have access to anyone who can help them. So if they're harassed, that little money that they use to sell mboga or to sell makaa, they'll give it to the policeman. But me, if they came to me, I'll say twende mbele. Then I'll tell him,
you know the law.
Yes, and I tell him I know my rights. And if I feel there's an abuse of power, I'll just say najua wakubwa wako. You see, I know your superiors, I know where to go.
And what about the issue of paying via M-Pesa?
Many times what I have seen is that these days, because they know if it's paid directly, they'll be traced. Remember there was when the police were being vetted, and one policeman's account would be found to have 500,000. Nowadays they're careful, so they'll tell you send it to the agent and then they'll go collect it from the agent. So there's no direct evidence. So they're getting smarter, but at least they are being cornered to some extent.
And do you know Vincent actually took a photo na amenitumia? This is the picture I took of the office, and there's actually bang hapo juu.
And that's what I usually say, and I usually feel sad, because when every child, when they're born with a sense of justice, a sense of right and wrong. And then when we give our power to the state for them to protect us, the state is supposed to be above board, and the police are the ones who are supposed to arrest the criminals. And unfortunately, they are the criminals.
Taking part in the criminal
like many people say, if you want a hitman, and this is maybe I don't want to encourage people, they say go get the policeman to do the hit, because now the case will go nowhere. So you see that the thieves, that the hitmen, you've seen these incidents on TV.
Unfortunately,
I'm not coming up with stories. So unfortunately, you see bang is an illegal drug, even those kumikumis, but you'll find them engaging in them. Then you or even a policeman driving against traffic, or using his siren when he does not need to. He's abusing his power. He's not supposed to do that. But because we have given them a certain status, they feel like they're kind of above the law, which is wrong.
All right. We have Martin Dungu, who is asking, after I have been wrongfully arrested and suffer in remand, and after all it's proven to be bogus, there's no case there. So what step can I take against the police who arrested me?
You can, like I said, if it was malicious and you have evidence, you can take them to the Police Oversight Authority, and the disciplinary action will be taken against them. Those people will do, hopefully, an independent investigation and find the facts. If you suffered, let's say you were working and you could not work and you suffered loss, maybe you got sick, maybe you got disabled, and you suffered some kind of damage, you can actually go to the civil court,
Yeah.
and claim against the state, the AG, against the AG and the police, whoever is in charge of the police. And if they are found to have been negligent, or they are found to have contravened your rights, and you have suffered damage, you can be given compensation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And we also have a lady here, and you didn't give me your name. You didn't give me your name, but from her profile I can see it's Caroline Akinyi. I hope I got that right. Hi, very good program. How does a case go to court from police station, and when does the DCI come into a case? Ama ni zile tu kubwa kubwa?
No,
Yeah.
these days all cases go through the DCI.
All cases?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, these days.
Even the petty offenses?
As long as it's going to go before the court, it has to go through. A long time ago it was police prosecutors, but these days even the police prosecutors, I think, are under the DCI. So the DCI has to approve before the matter goes to court. And he has many employees, junior employees. So the bigger cases go to the senior, the smaller cases go to the junior. But at the end of the day, the police will not be allowed to present the matter before court if the DCI didn't approve that there's a case to answer. Because there's some bogus cases that used to go forward and they just get thrown. The magistrate said that there was no case to answer, there was no cause. So these days they try to make sure that there's enough evidence before the matter goes to the legal process, because even that legal process, it costs taxpayers money. So if it is abused, like if there are too many petty offenses which have no merit, we the taxpayers end up paying more for those services. Yeah.
Okay, and we have James kutoka Molo. I'm loving the show. Thank you so much, James, for tuning in. Unasema, do I have the right to know the job number of the policeman mwenye ananishika kabla anishike?
Yes.
The job number, and
Yeah.
even the badge name, the number, name.
Yes, the reason why it was introduced, especially for the police at the lower level, because the senior investigators, they don't tend to have that. But the police, the uniform comes with a number, because you might be arrested by a policeman and you might never see him again. But if you are able to write the number, he can be identified.
Yeah, sure.
And if someone is masquerading to be a policeman and they don't have that number, and then you can say, you're not a policeman, you're just trying to con me or arrest me. Or because there are people who've masqueraded to be policemen and still gone to those lands and still collected that money. Yeah, that I said earlier.
All right. Martin Dungu is actually asking for your number because Nasema there's more discussion here. We'll make sure to follow up on that. And there's another question that came in a bit earlier. The issue of bail. You know, so here's the question: how much should I give as bail? Is there a specific amount for a specific crime, or whatever the policeman asks me to give, that is what I should give? Is there a specific amount for a specific crime?
There are ranges. Like I say, that there are two types of crime: the misdemeanors and the felonies. So for the misdemeanors, the amounts tend to be reasonable.
lower?
Like for instance, if you go to court and the fine will be 3,000, the bail shouldn't be more than 3,000. The police bail. Yeah, and even in court, if it's a traffic offense and maybe the act says the fine for this type of crime is 20,000, the bail should never go beyond that. And usually for the lighter offenses, both the police and the magistrates will give you a smaller amount, something that is commensurate to the crime. If it's a big crime, like maybe you stole 2 billion, they'll give you a bail term that is commensurate.
Heavy.
Yes. Yeah, the one that you will feel. Because if you're given a small amount, you leave it there and
you
disappear.
will pay and go home.
Yeah, and the idea for the bail, especially the one that's paid in court, is to make sure that if you abscond, you feel it. So they'll ask for your title deed. They'll ask for a huge amount of money that you'll need 5 years to save.
Yeah.
And most people usually have to fundraise, and then the people you fundraised from, if you disappear,
Don't pay again, they take you to court.
They will come. If it's your relative, they will be annoyed.
Yeah.
If it's someone who lent you money, they will take civil action. So you'll feel, let me just go to court. So that is the idea behind it.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it's a big crime, it will be huge. If it's a small crime, it will be small.
Please help us understand and I think many people are being confused by this. What's the difference between a bail and a bond?
Okay, sometimes the words are used interchangeably, yeah, because bail is usually mostly cash, but a bond is like it's almost like
A fine?
no. I'm trying to get the right word. Okay, bail is cash. A bond is almost like you're swearing that you'll not abscond, but they usually need a security.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah. So the bail, bond, and surety, they're usually used interchangeably or together. Yeah. So you can be told you'll pay a fine of you'll pay bail of this time or a surety of this term, and then bail and bond are sometimes used interchangeably because sometimes it's the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but you can either be asked to pay money, or you can be told to deposit something valuable in lieu of the money. Many times they ask for a title. Sometimes maybe they can ask for a logbook if it's a small offense. But many times I've seen that they ask for titles because they're
More
bankable.
valuable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's a question that came in, and I don't want to leave this one out as we finish. Thank you for that program. It's really encouraging and educative. My name is Mary. I'm listening in from Nakuru. I just need to understand if I resist arrest because I know my law, and the traffic officer decides that he is going to use a forceful law, can I take action against him? I think that is
Yeah.
just basically what the other Martin was asking earlier.
yeah.
If he's using
Ideally,
force.
when a policeman wants to arrest you, you should ask him for what? You should try to be civil. Don't become violent. Don't become loud. He should not have the excuse of saying you resisted arrest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for you, if you're calm and you're saying, just tell me what I'm being arrested for before we go to the police station. Now he should tell you. If he starts saying no, I'll not tell you, or he starts misbehaving, yeah, then that misbehavior, you can actually record it, or you can look for evidence, and you can even, when you're going to before the magistrate, you can complain.
Yeah.
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 And the magistrate will see that this was not in order, because there's a whole procedure of how an arrest should be, and it's progressive. If someone is willing, they should go willingly, calmly, with no violence. They shouldn't even touch you. If they need to touch you, it should be because they're securing you. Like if it's a serious offense, they need to put handcuffs. You see, yeah. And even then, the force should only be when it was necessary, and there are certain thresholds. Yeah. Like I said, if you're removing a gun, they can remove a gun. If you're removing a pen and they remove a gun, that's excessive force.
Yeah.
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 If someone has a rungu and you're using a gun, that's excessive force. Yeah. So it should be commensurate.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can I report city council officers to police station? That is Martin. Kanjo. Wanaweza kuwa reported because sometimes they harass people. They do.
So what I will say is that it is important to know your rights. If
Know
you
your
have not
rights.
committed an offense and you're being harassed, just tell them, yeah, I know my rights. And if you arrest me, I will complain. And I will complain about you, and your job will be in trouble. And I have done that myself.
You have?
Yes, and it works.
Really?
Yes.
Watashtuka. Like
And for me, it was
they'll-
Kidero grass.
Oh.
You know, you cross a road, you find yourself on the grass, you come out immediately. They come for you. Those 10 people who are watering the grass, and they're saying pay. And you're like, no, I came out of the grass immediately. Yeah? I did not know that at this point there is no place to pass.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to get money from me, I will go forward. I will report all of you, and you will all lose your jobs. And then I said, and nanajua wakubwa huko, because the prosecutors and the people in the city council court are lawyers. So for me, I knew what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you know your rights, many times you will not be mishandled. And you know, but you should also gauge. If you're dealing with someone with a gun, you should be wise. Sometimes it's better you keep quiet, go through the process, and get help later.
Yeah, later.
Because sometimes you can say that and they go like, oh, you're the ones who want to, and they use a
then
gun,
they
and
use
then they'll
excess
say
force.
you had drugs, you're trying to shoot them. So in every situation, just use your common sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's this guy who texted in earlier. His name is Vincent from Thika. You know, and he talked about the issue of paying through M-Pesa. And now he really needs to understand. And he's saying, please help me understand. I have the M-Pesa number I used to pay for the release. Can I start an investigation case if I wish to, since at the same time other guys have paid for their release too? Can
That is good.
be basis?
M-Pesa is good evidence.
Yeah.
You know, you can go to the Safaricom, they can authenticate the statement, they can show money left your account,
Yeah.
it went to this person's account.
At-
If that person can be linked, if that person is actually the policeman, that is very good evidence.
Okay.
For
And
someone who wants to take
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
matter forward.
Because actually, from the SMS and the photo he's sending, he sent it to a personal number.
Yeah,
That's
so
enough evidence, right?
yes, it is good evidence. So if he wants to pursue the case, he can start with that. He should just take whatever he has, take it to the IPOA. These days, if you go to the internet, you'll get a lot of information. All government agencies are on the internet. They'll give you the procedures, they'll give you the forms, they'll tell you where the office is. You can always go and get assistance.
Okay. I have a minute left, but I just want you to tell us, apart from the Constitution, maybe what else should I read as a citizen of Kenya to make sure that I am familiar with these laws?
There's the Constitution, there's the Penal Code, and there's the Criminal Procedure Code. Now, I don't expect a layman to read the Criminal Procedure Code and understand all of it,
Yeah.
but at least just look for the part that says arrest and read that section. It's pretty clear. It'll tell you what happens in this situation, what happens in this situation. Even when they come and just enter your house, it'll tell you in this situation, they're allowed. In this particular circumstance, they're not
They're
allowed.
not allowed.
Yeah, or when something is happening to you, because you can't read everything. There's so many laws.
Yeah.
When something is happening to you, then at that time, if you have a phone, go to the internet. These days, Kenya Law Reports has all the laws available for every member of the public. Go to that particular section, read, know your rights. Yeah? Basically, it's good to know your rights. It's good to be informed. And when someone is going to take away your freedom, that is a fundamental right which should not be taken away from you without proper cause. Yeah? That is something that you should just take the initiative and find out and learn more about it. Because it can happen to you suddenly.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah, so it's good to know, have the information earlier, and I'll thank Family TV for doing this, basically taking the information to the public today.
Yeah.
And then for the Kenyans, because usually we allow the government to harass us or policemen because we don't know our rights, and first we don't know how to agitate for them. This is the age of social media. Yeah, it's good to go to Twitter, complain. Someone will pick it up. LSK, someone, Kituo cha Sheria, Kenya Christian Lawyers, just complain. Go to Twitter and complain. As it's happening, complain. Record it, send it live.
Yeah.
Those people will back off.
Yes.
Because me, I'm a Christian, and I believe when you shine light in darkness,
Yeah.
the darkness will retreat.
Oh, sure.
And as Christians, we are the ones who are supposed to stand up and shine the light. If you see someone is being harassed, you have the information, then they don't have the information, help them. Yeah? Of course, protect yourself. Don't put yourself in a place where
danger.
you'll be in danger, but there's a way you can still assist.
Okay.
Yeah? And church is usually mishandled by politicians for evil. Yeah? They'll come pay the preachers, yeah? And then continue being corrupt or continue oppressing us. But the church should mobilize itself, and especially the youth, because the youth still have the fire of God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
church,
power.
the power, the physical power and the mental power and the desire for change, because we're the ones the youth are the ones who will benefit from a country that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the churches should be mobilizing not only to pray when we have problems, but also to just complain as a group to the MCA, yeah, to the MP. And these days, because there's Twitter, let the whole church send tweets and it's trends,
Yeah.
and something will be done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So if there's an injustice, they usually say injustice only is perpetrated when people are silent.
Yeah.
If there's an injustice and you see it, talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Hey, Mini Melan, I don't know about you, but I have learnt a lot. And I know Vincent has learnt a lot because he's just texting in capital letters and asema, thank you for the law lecture. Made a lecture.
Thank you. You're
Well,
welcome.
thank you so much, my dear, for coming today and taking us through the processes and what we need to know. We really appreciate that.
I appreciate it too.
Thank you so much for tuning in to This Is the Day. And I will see you tomorrow. Please make sure you read the laws, Just know your rights. Maybe we can avoid some of these things that we go through. My name is Sarah Otieno, and I will see you tomorrow.